And this church was planted in 1980 as an outreach from the Southern Baptist Convention to the athletes of the 1980 Winter Olympics. And I first attended church in the other church down on Main Street on next to the Episcopal Church, which was where this church began. And I accepted Jesus in that church. And that was the beginning, really, of my born-again experience.
We absolutely were outgrowing that space.
Yeah.
We couldn't go any further with it. And we started looking at this building. And at that time, believe it or not, you may know this, you may not, it was a house of spas. It was a building full of hot tubs where people would come and pay to soak in a hot tub. And so I remember the guys having to get in there and pull out hot tubs from the Sunday school rooms.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, it was this building here, pretty much, is what it was. And I remember going in there with my chainsaw and just cutting out walls so we could pull the hot tubs out so that we could reframe them back up and create Sunday school space. It was a start, and God planted us here on the corner, and we weren't even really sure how it was going to be paid for, but I just knew that God was in it. God was going to provide. The church was very low on funds and really didn't have the ability to continue to meet our expenses. So I remember that there was a need to get a loan from the bank, from the Adirondack Trust Bank. And I remember that they sent us a letter and they said, we require that 10 families sign here on the dotted line. And basically what they were doing is guaranteeing that loan, that those 10 families, through their own personal properties, things like that, were guaranteeing that loan. So 10 families picked up the pen. One person for each family walked up there and signed on the dotted line on that mortgage note to underwrite that. And that was the commitment. And we knew there was a sacrifice, and we knew there was going to be a cost, but we also knew that God was going to be faithful and going to provide. And I've got to put her name in here, because dear old Miss Hannah England, she was a wonderful African-American lady who came and sat in church every Sunday, and they tell me she was a deaconess in the Brooklyn Tabernacle at one time, and granddaughter of a slave, and I remember walking up with her cane to the place where they had the clipboard on it, and she goes, I don't have much, but what I have is the Lord's. And she signed her name as one of those folks who guaranteed that underwriting process.